Welcome to Ecotopia U Media. I'm your host, Melissa McGinnis, joined by my co-host, Tom Wright. We are at the beautiful Biltmore Hotel here in downtown Los Angeles for the CRRA 39th Annual Conference. We're joined by Buddy, our Buddy.
Buddy Boyd.
Nice to see you, Buddy Boyd.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what's your interest here at the conference?
Well, my partner Barb Hetherington and myself created a recycling depot on steroids up in Gibsons, British Columbia, Canada. And what we've done is start looking at everything in the waste stream in a way we can kind of deal with it locally in our community instead of shipping it out to our community, other communities, which allows us to keep stuff out of the landfill, also create local economic development opportunities as well as local jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what did you find in your waste stream?
Well, we've done several waste audits, and it's amazing how much recyclables people throw away, and even refundables. We have a refund system a bottle refund system up in Canada, and when you get a bin at your curb, whether it be just for waste or waste in organics and recycling, you kind of get into these lazy patterns of lift, lid, and throw, make stuff go away, it's out of my life. So you start cheating and things of value start going into the bins. So what we're trying to do is make people responsible. So we don't have curbside collection in Gibsons. We have this depot, which we created in the center of our town, kind of like on the shopping path. And at Gibsons Recycling, people can go do their banking, drop off the recyclables, including organics now, go do their shopping, and then rinse and repeat.
I think that's a brilliant system because I feel like it's more of a thoughtful approach to wanting to get your items recycled. If you're providing this depot, I would actually have a plan to go there once a week, if you will, right next to my dry cleaning, right next to all of my other errands that I need to do.
And that's what we have. And I guess 10 years ago when I first met, started meeting the Californians, I call them. I had a successful...
Melissa and I are Californians, just so you know.
We had a successful disposal company. And then I met Richard Anthony and Mary Lou and
another
Dan,
Californian.
Another Californian, Mary Lou and Dan from Urban Ore. And they slowly started...
And he looks like Dan's younger brother.
That's right, I get that a lot.
Yeah,
so Dr. Orr and Mary Lou and Richard really kind of started making me look at what I was doing with this company that I had, a successful, profitable disposal company. So I started looking at it and realizing we're taking perfectly good stuff to the landfill. So over a period of about 10, 12 years, we've morphed into Gibsons Resource Recovery Center, and it's the only resource recovery center in British Columbia, which is where we're located in Canada, and it was built without any taxpayers' money. We did it on our own.
So you did not get any help? Did you get support? I mean,
no.
Nothing?
No.
Because are you taking away from the municipality?
Well, if you start looking and analyzing things that feed people's families in the waste industry, like we found out, once we stopped becoming a disposal company, became a zero waste resource recovery company, we went from great profitability to break even. Because the whole system is gamed, it's rigged to support the dysfunctionality of lift, lid, and throw, make stuff go away. And our concept is more kind of like creating a reverse shopping center, so that when you come to recycle at our place, we don't take 4 or 5 items, we take 45 items.
Like what? So give us an example of some of the things you take.
Styrofoam, we densify styrofoam right in our community. We give somebody a job. We bought a thermodensifier out of New Jersey. There's some great technologies for dealing with stuff in the waste stream innovatively, and so much of it's created right in the USA. So we started with our styrofoam, and then we got Andela glass crusher out of New York State, and we pulverize our glass now. And one of the things we do with our pulverized glass is we have a resource, and we've got a local glass blower in our community, and they're called Melon Glass. So they'll take our blue glass, and they've made these glass business cards for us, right?
Oh my goodness.
Cobalt. Yeah,
so those are mostly milk and magnesia bottles and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Fancy. But the point is that we didn't ship the glass out of our community. We created an opportunity here for local jobs and reducing our carbon footprint. And the stuff's out of the landfill, and we're making stuff out of it, right? And like Andrew is a local developer in Gibsons, he's invented these things called the silly bags, and you can cook in these reusable bags. So could you imagine if we bought stuff in bags that were refillable, reusable? And this is microwave safe. You can dishwasher, cook in it, and
May I?
yeah, you may. So
I love
Suggestion, by the way, you should put the tear weight on it.
yeah, well, it's in the development stage.
Yeah.
We're in R&D right now.
Anytime the bag's going to be used, it's good for the retailer to not have to worry about what's the tear weight.
They could scale it out.
Yeah, they can just
zero it out. I understand that.
Yeah.
the depot system. Are you seeing other depot systems around globally, or?
Yes, there's one in Gothenburg with Paul Martinson, and obviously Urban Ore is really the granddaddy of them all.
The one in Berkeley, yeah.
The one in Berkeley. And so what we're thinking is that if we're able to build a model like Urban Ore with no government help, what could we do if we actually started all working from the same side of the script, right? The same side of the page. So my background is in design. I used to design trucking terminals and drive trucks, and so I have a hands-on perspective. And I remember when we met a few years ago at a EPR session, you have people that are heavier in theory meeting with people who are heavier in practicality, and that's how we're going to get into better design. But if we have too many theorists and academics, then all you're going to have is kind of like a dog chasing its tail, right? You need balance. So.
I just think it's an incredible concept. Did the community pick up with it really quickly, or did you have to give a lot of education out?
Took a while, and because we don't have curbside collection of only waste, people, if you build it, they will come. And if you've ever watched Field of Dreams, as silly as it sounds, we were thinking about that when we were designing our depot. So right in the middle of our depot, we have a store. And because we're waste salvagers, we go and pick things out and repurpose them and move them along to people who might not have the money, or people who need that widget that we took out rescued from the landfill. So the key thing here is to understand is that it doesn't have to be icky. It doesn't have to have that ick factor. And if you go on gibsonsrecycling.ca, you can look at our video and see how we've taken stuff in the waste stream. And as Paul Conant said, we're having fun with it. We actually have a fun time. We give tours all the time. We do school events there. Boy Scouts come, because showing the people in the community, we've pulled back the curtain. There's no fancy walls. It's all, it's right there for people to see. When you want to see 1,000 cell phones, that's 1,000 cell phones. It's not behind a wall. So if you want people to change their behavior, our behavior, they have to see what it is they produce at a community level. So it's really just kind of a slight twist on a recycling depot, but like on steroids, right?
I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Now in Canada, there are these particular types of packaging laws.
Yes, there is now.
And yes, and so you have some perspective on this. I think you should share it.
I do, and as we've talked in the past, is that making the producers responsible for the crappy packaging they're putting into the marketplace, in theory, is a great idea. But again,
even the non-crappy packaging.
That's right. Yeah. And at the end of the day, having an embedded fee for the cost of recycling it somewhere down the road at the end of its life cycle is a good idea. The problem comes in implementation and design. And in Canada, in British Columbia, ours was implemented, but none of the local recyclers were at the table to help figure out, hey, what do you think would be a good idea? So the brainstorming session really occurred at the theoretical expert level. And then it was
in Ottawa, or
no, in British Columbia, because it's in British Columbia. It's British Columbia. It's called Multi-Materials British Columbia, BC.
I see. Okay.
And it's a printed paper and packaging EPR program. And when it was rolled out last year, it was basically, this is what you're going to get paid, without understanding anybody's business model, what it actually costs to provide the services. So I think there's some tweaking that needs to be done, and rather than throwing it under the bus, I realized that we better get involved, because you can't make change or affect change if you're on the other side of the fence throwing rocks, right? So we are now part of Multi-Materials British Columbia. It's not perfect. We think it can be improved, and the best way to improve it is for recyclers like us to be engaged. And their subcontractor is a company called Green by Nature, which is a consortium of recyclers in Vancouver. And what they've done is been charged with rolling it out, and those are the folks that we're dealing with. And I think probably in a year or two we're going to see this thing get a lot better. But at the end of the day, it's not a full cost recovery program. And EPR without full cost recovery is almost a recipe for failure.
It's not EPR,
right?
Yeah, it's not the idea.
That's right.
The theorists lost out on the battle then.
That's right. So I think that's where the inclusion part comes in and collaboration, so that if we're going to build these programs, we need people who actually get their hands dirty on a daily basis to contribute into the conversation, so that the guys, the brainiacs and the think tank guys, can go, oh, because they don't have that perspective, just like we don't have their perspective. Right?
Now we were kind of joking before about crappy packaging versus and I just said non-crappy. And another way to say it is packaging that's designed in a way that the recycling market's just there. It's already there. PET, HDPE,
yes.
Aluminum.
Yes.
But then there is crappy packaging. And so what has been British Columbia's response to crappy packaging?
Well, a lot of it's going back in the waste stream, like that beautiful bag. And I love those bags that dog food come in, those multi-laminate bags, but they can't go into the program, right? And we're hoping that now that it's going back into their waste stream, our waste stream totals are going back up, and hopefully this will create some kind of resonance at the government level to say, we're going in the wrong direction. So now these producers have to start making better dog food bags. Or chip bags, right?
It should be mandated.
The problem with mandating something is without educating the public, it's a recipe for failure. So I think what we need is more education and more hands-on people helping with the educational process, right? So when I leave California, I'm bolting back home because I got to go back to work. And we don't get paid to do this. We just do this because we're passionate about the environment and zero waste. And with what's happening in California, we see this as the beginning of the next phase in the Americas, so that we can tell the rest of America and Canada that, you know, there are better options, but it's not a bad thing to inconvenience the public. There's a lot of people running for elected office who think, oh my God, the sky's going to fall if we inconvenience the public. And we're living proof when you watch our video. You're going to see people being inconvenienced, but it doesn't have to be not fun, right?
It's not a stick in the eye.
I think it's a great model. I think being inconvenienced is actually being more mindful.
Sure. And a lot of times when I'm traveling the world and giving presentations, I'll equate it to fast food, right? Fast food, a fast food diet is not going to make you healthy. What's going to make you healthy is you have to be inconvenienced. You have to get on the treadmill. You have to go walk your dog. You have to eat a healthier meal. So the notion that we can get healthy with a fast food diet and maybe take a weight loss pill, that's insanity. Well, that's what poor design is like at the recycling level. Poorly designed programs without people being inconvenienced or participating is a recipe for failure.
Participating. I think people want to participate more than we give them credit.
And I think people are way more better informed than we give them credit for. And this notion that, oh, if we do this, they might revolt or buck, I'm living proof to say they won't. But the trick is there has to be a cause and effect. As what I'm doing a benefit? And if so, what is that benefit? And what we're saying, the benefit is for your children and your grandchildren, right? We can't keep borrowing and trading on their inheritance, which is what our generation's doing, right? So I think it doesn't have to be painful. It can be fun, just like losing weight. You know, if you're, I don't know why I keep using that one, but
it makes sense. It works, and it resonates.
And you know that you probably know people who will take that pill and say, hey, listen, I'm going, right?
Right, and even just the non-benefit of cheap food. I mean, inconvenience, you have to grow your food, you have to harvest it, you have to...
And now that we've just introduced, last year, we now have on-site composting at our recycling depot, and people bring their organic food scraps when they come in to recycle.
Well, if I had to invest in a model, I definitely invest in this one. I think it's really smart.
Plus, the beer's a lot better in Canada.
All right. Well, give us your website one more time so our viewers.
It's www.gibsonsrecycling.ca, and I'm also board of director at Zero Waste Canada, so you can just punch in Zero Waste Canada.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
My new best buddy.
Buddy.